Good evening, how are you?
Good evening, fine. Hi, audience.
As you can see, we are celebrating the hippie week.
Oh, I am really interested about this movement.
Interesting. Let's start talking about the beginning. What did arose?
Well, the hippie movement arose the United States during the 1960s.
Uh, and what their main characteristic?
Well, they create their own communities and listen psychological rock, embarrassing their sexual relations, and sometimes take drugs like cannabis, LSD, or magic mushrooms.
Wow, they didn't have limits.
Okay, let's go to the past. What was the origin of this movement?
Well, the first signs of modern proto-hippies emerged at the end of the 19th century in Germany. It attracted thousands of young Germans who wanted to go back to natural spiritual of the ancestors.
But I thought that it was an American movement.
Yes, you're right. These German people moved to States and took this movement there by 1965. The movement eventually expanded to other countries, United Kingdom and Europe, Australia, Canada, New Zealand, Japan, Mexico, and I don't know.
And what did they fight for or against?
Well, they were against established instructions, nuclear weapons, and the Vietnam War. And they were for instance philosophical, sexual libertations, and environmental, obviously.
And tell me, what about drugs?
They promote the use of psychological drugs, which were consumed in commons.
I heard that concerts were also really important.
Definitely, in 1967, there was a concert where people were wearing flowers which they distributed. It was called Summer Love.
But sometimes they have some problems.
Yes, I think in August in 1969 the Warsaw concert took place in New York. Over a lot of people arrived to hear some of the most notable musicians and bands of era. I think that Carlos Santana, The Who, Jimi Hendrix, an 18-year-old boy was established and killed during the Rolling stage performance.
How awful. What happened next? What is incident affecting this moment?
Of course, the killing shocked many Americans, including those who had strongly identified with hippie culture. To tell us what happened in the concert, we have a guest that was there.
Hello.
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 Oh yes, I was in that concert and it was a misfortune. But I can assure you that it had nothing to do with the hippie movement. When it happened, all came together to pray. Everybody knows our motto, peace and love.
Oh,
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Well, as you can check, hippies could be really identified about this way of dressing.
Yes, both men and women wore jeans and had long hair, where sandals of when were for. Men often wore reds and women wore little or not makeup, with many guns blades. Hippies often choose brightly colored clothing or wore unusual styles, such as well-bottomed pants, vests, I don't know.
And do you know where they could buy these clothes?
Much hippie clothing was self-made, and hippies often purchased their clothes from flea markets and second-hand shops.
Oh, hippie movement is usually say that they have a special relation with sex.
The common stereotypes is that the hippies was proposed having wide sexual origins.
And what was their belief for love?
They accept open relationships. They mean that you might have a primary relationship with one person, but if another attracted you, you can explore that relationship. Hippies embraced to all slogan of free love. Love was no longer limited to one person. You can love anyone you choose.
They don't seem like they like living in sedentary life.
That is true. They usually have mobile house built and truck bus chassis. Some of their houses were quite elaborate with beds, toilets, sewing and cooking facilities.
And what about their religion beliefs?
Many hippies relate original religions in favor of more personality, spiritual experience.
Something that draws my attention is what their political opinion.
The hippie movement is related to state societies. Their base symbol was developed in the UK as a long for campaign of nuclear disarmament. Right hippies were often pacifists. They opposed to the Vietnam War, include a refuse to serve in the army.
To finish this interesting topic, I would like to note of the legacy of this movement. Can you tell me?
Yes. Well, in my opinion, it has been really important. In general, Americans of all age feel free to travel and live together without social problems. Sexual matters has become a common type. Religions and culture diversity is better accepted, and people can live and work in communities. Not forget the fashion patterns, of course.
Well, thank you for this information. That
It is all. Peace and love.